is going on, guys? As of right now, we have finished 6 weeks of this NFL season. This has gone by extremely fast. I don't know about y'all, but I mean, 6 weeks are gone, and 12-ish weeks are left before the regular season, at least. But 1/3 of the way through, here are our power rankings. Thank you for finally getting me to 500 subs. We will do another jersey giveaway at 1,000, so let's get there. Either way, let's get right into this video. Alright, so here's our tier list. We're going to get right into this. So first off, at 32, we're going to have the Chicago Bears. They lost to the Vikings this week. They lost Justin Fields. Justin Fields is bad. Tyson Bagent, whatever his name is, Shepherd University legend. He was able to make their offense look capable, and that's because he can throw a football like Justin Fields can't. So they are bad. The Panthers are going to be at 31. They're pretty bad too. Maybe they should be here, but they had some fight this week. They went up 14-0 on the Dolphins. You know, maybe I'll switch them for now. That's just giving them the Bears some credit for at least winning a game. I'll do it, whatever. Cardinals are going to fall at 30. What can I say, man? I mean, they have the worst roster in the league. Definitely out of these teams, they are the worst roster. It's just they've made it count a little bit better than the other two have. They've put in some heavy work, made some games that they shouldn't have, and I mean, that is what it is, really. Moving on from them, the Patriots. They have won one game, and they look awful. You know, as a Steelers fan, our offense is pretty rough, and we'll get to them here shortly. But, I mean, the Patriots, like, what's their excuse? I mean, Mac Jones he was good at one point. Bill O'Brien was a great offensive mind. Like, what's their excuse for being bad? I don't know. Either way, moving on, Broncos are going to be right after them. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm falling out of hope with them. Not that they're going to be much anyways, but I had some hope that maybe Russ could be decent and carry them a little bit. And the 1 week the defense shows up against the Chiefs, the offense falls flat. Had their offense played this week like it had the last few weeks, they would have won that game and probably beat the Chiefs by 2 or 3 touchdowns. Yeah, that was a weird game in general. Moving on, the Colts are going to go at 27. They've been okay. Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy. That's going to be an issue if that continues to happen. He's had 2 injuries so far in his career, and we're probably looking at Anthony Richardson being shut down for the season. So Minshew Mania is back and going. I guess it is what it is at this point. Moving on from them, we go to Las Vegas and find the Raiders. Jimmy G is now out as well, back injury. Brian Hoyer stepped in. I was interested to not see Aiden O'Connell come in, but either way, yeah, they beat the Patriots this week, but I mean, is that really an accomplishment? I don't know. They allowed an offensive touchdown for the Patriots, so that's not an accomplishment. Either way, they're not a very good team. They're not going to be a very good team. Moving on from them, the New York Giants. The Giants, they played the Bills, and they played them well. I'll tell you that. But it just, I mean, they're the Giants. Tyrod Taylor is honestly a safer bet than Daniel Jones. I think he played well enough that you might need to consider whether or not to play him over Daniel Jones. I think it's considerable at this point. Daniel Jones is just, he's a mess. Yeah, his ceiling is definitely higher than Tyrod, but he's so messy. He causes so many turnovers. He's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it right now. Moving on from them, the Texans will go in here. You know, I'm a little down on the Texans, as most people are giving them a lot of hype, and that's great. They're not bad, but are they good? I don't think so. They beat the Saints. Congratulations. The Saints have had their fair share of troubles. We'll get to them in a little bit as well, but I mean, there's just a limit to this roster as well, with, you know, the fact that their best receiver is Nico Collins, their best defensive player is Jalen Petrie maybe? Yeah, it's just, there's not a whole lot of upside there in general. Moving on from them, we'll go to the LA Rams. They had a decent game this week, but they've just struggled a lot overall. I mean, Puka is going to fall off with Cooper Kupp coming back, which is a good thing, honestly. You'd rather have Cooper Kupp than not. But either way, I just can't really put him a whole lot higher than this right there, right now. They'll be climbing up this list here shortly, though. The Bengals are raising up a little bit to 22. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The Bengals, they've looked better the last 2 weeks. Joe Burrow, it looks like he's healthy now, or at least mostly healthy. He's moving a bit. That's good. That's great. They're still a little raw, missing some things here and there. I expect it to be fixed, but I mean, until I get real proof, I mean, they've played nobody's last couple weeks. The Seahawks are, yeah, they were a good team for sure, but they're not a great team. I mean, I just don't trust them. Geno, like I've told you guys, I don't think Geno's going to have the same year he did last year. A lot of things in that wheelhouse. So until they get a really good staple win, I'm not going to put them too much higher than this right here. Moving on, we will go now. After the Bengals, we are at the New York Jets. They beat the Eagles this week. For the first time in franchise history, they beat the Eagles, which is an accomplishment in itself, but also they did it with Zach Wilson. The defense played very well. Zach Wilson was fine, serviceable. Breece Hall played pretty well. He did a little bit of everything running, receiving-wise. But yeah, that's how they're going to win games. That defense is going to clamp up, and Zach Wilson has to not make mistakes, and they do that, and they win games. They're good enough. If Aaron Rodgers has a chance of coming back, this team can make the playoffs and maybe can make something happen, even though they don't have him the whole season. Moving on, the Browns, another team who took out a lossless team, a winning team. Yeah, that was butchered. Either way, they beat the Niners this week, and they did it without Deshaun Watson. They did it with P.J. Walker playing quarterback. That just goes to show you exactly what I mean about Brock Purdy. If he doesn't have the guys who make the offense work, he's not going to win. It's just not going to happen. He's not good enough to carry a team on his own. He's a good quarterback. He's fine, but he's not great. Let's stop acting like he's top 10. He's not. Without Christian McCaffrey, without Deebo Samuel, but especially Christian McCaffrey, they're not getting anywhere. That Niners offense is not good enough without those two guys, especially CMC. Moving on from them, though, the Minnesota Vikings. They are given a bit of a high ranking. They probably could definitely drop down to about here, but I'm giving them some hope simply because they play in the NFC, unlike these three teams, and their offense is good enough. It's just we've got to finish seeing it. However, if they lose this game this coming week, I don't care who it's to, they're dropping down pretty hard. And obviously I don't do these but every 2 weeks, but either way, you get my point. They have one more shot. This is it. I don't blame them for the Chiefs' loss. It's the Chiefs. This past week, they won fine. I mean, it was messy, but they won. They lost Justin Jefferson. It's going to be hard to do that without Justin Jefferson, but I'll give them a little bit of a break. This is it, though. That offense can outpace anybody. The defense has to hold up, and that's just something we're yet to see. Moving on from here, we'll go with the Packers. Jordan Love is just, I don't know yet. We're at a spot where, is he capable enough of anything? Is he capable of doing enough for this team? And I don't know. I'm really thinking that he might just not be that capable. It's not a bad thing. Not everybody is, but I mean capable for this year. Maybe in the long run, he's still a good quarterback, a great quarterback even. But right now, this team with him, with the young receivers and weapons, and without Aaron Jones, it's not going to happen, man. It's just not. Moving on from them, we'll go with the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons, Desmond Ridder's a huge issue. Their offense is at least serviceable without him. Unlike the Packers, if the running game's not been very good with A.J. Dillon, and the passing game's been on and off with Jordan Love being but Desmond Ridder he's not good. He's not an NFL player or an NFL starter, excuse me. They got to move off of him sooner rather than later, whatever that means for them. Get someone else in this building ASAP. The Saints lost to the Texans this week, but they're still getting up here because I think their ceiling is just higher than all of these teams outside of the Bengals. But it is what it is. The Bengals, yeah, they were in a funk. This team's also in a funk. Derek Carr finally played well this week, but the defense was not able to hold Houston back, and it is what it is. C.J. Stroud, they got him his first pick, but they've got to fix some things on that offense, and the defense they got to keep it going. They've been fine, but they'll move on. The Steelers come in next. They get a benefit of being a very, very, very good defense with Mike Tomlin. The defense is going to win you games a lot. It doesn't matter what the offense does. That's what they have over just about every one of these teams underneath them. That defense, the Jets defense is good. The Steelers defense is better. The Steelers defense has playmakers who will win you games. The Jets defense will keep you in the spot for your offense as long as they don't make mistakes to win you games. We've seen it multiple times this season with the Steelers, whether it be versus the Browns, versus the Ravens. The defense won those games. No team under this has that capability outside of them. And really, if you can just get Matt Canada's stupid play calling and Kenny Pickett to play a little bit better, that team's going to be scary. It is. It's there. It's just right behind there. The Tennessee Titans come next. They did fall to the Ravens this week. Very tempted to put them down about here, but they will stay up here for now. It was a decent game. Ryan Tannehill did go out. If this is a serious injury, Tennessee's got to be done with him. They're not getting anywhere. If I'm Tennessee and he's out, trade Derrick Henry, get what you can, trade some of the defensive pieces that aren't as young, keep Jeffrey Simmons, keep some of those guys. But man, you've got to make some moves to get back in a setting where you can win. And I just don't think they're really close to that right now outside of the current roster. After the Titans, we go with the Seattle Seahawks. They are iffy, man. Geno's just not that guy. And I told y'all before the season, he can do some things. He's just not going to be able to win you games. He's not going to be a great player. There's a reason he didn't play in the NFL for 10 years. And there's a reason he was a third-round draft pick and sat for 10 years. He's not that guy. And also, JSN is, I told y'all about him too, man. JSN is just not a high-end receiver like that. He's good. He's fine. He's definitely not playing to the best of his ability. I think he will get better in his career, but he's just not the best receiver. I just don't think he's going to be. Either way, it is. The Chargers just lost tonight to the Cowboys. It was a messy game, but I will say their defense has looked a lot better in the coming weeks. They were on bye last week, but they've progressed. They have 20 sacks in the last 4 weeks. They got a ton of pressure on the Cowboys tonight. They played better than the Cowboys defense, but we'll get to the Cowboys in a minute. Either way, Justin Herbert didn't play the best, and that was what cost them the game. He overthrew Keenan Allen 3 times, I believe, in the second half, but they were right there. I think this team is a few pieces away and a few tidbits away from a huge run this postseason. All right, and now we're going to go on past them. The Commanders are going to fall in line right here. This is a tough one because, they are ranked kind of high for me. And, they could maybe even drop as low as like 16, 17. But this team is not bad. That defense is pretty good. The offense has weapons. B-Rob, A. Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Logan Thomas is finally playing well. I mean, he's probably going to get hurt here in the next 5 minutes, but he's been good. And Sam Howell's a dude. I think he is. I think it's really Ron Rivera is just he should not be an NFL coach anymore. He's not capable of doing that mentally, and I think he's holding them back. However, that's a huge part of it. But the team is good enough where I think the players can outplay the coaching and they can get some wins. The problem is their division is the most stacked division in the NFC, so it's going to be tough for them either way. Moving on from them, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who I attempted putting them even under the Commanders, but I just couldn't do it. They have had some good wins. This past week they beat the Titans, but the Titans lost Ryan Tannehill. It was a very close game. They couldn't beat the Steelers. Not that that's anything new, but, it is what it is. They fall at 10. After them, the Jacksonville Jaguars step in. I don't remember who they played this week. They played well, though. The Colts. It was the Colts. They played well. Colts almost came back, but they didn't. But either way, they just got to step it up a little bit. Trevor Lawrence, the defense, if they could step it up and be the team we expected them to be, they will be very good. And they could play in the deeper rounds of the playoffs as well. Moving on from them. Tampa Bay, they've been very good. The defense is good. Obviously, good weapons. Evans and Godwin. Cade Otton's a decent tight end. I mean, he's okay. That's great right there, and that's all you have to mention. Baker Mayfield's played well, but they've just got to take it up a little step. The good thing for them is their division's not very good overall, and so as long as they can get a few more good wins and win in that division, they'll be in the playoffs, and they could upset a team. They are definitely good enough to upset any team in this conference right now as they look, except for maybe the Eagles and the 49ers, excuse me. After the Bucks, I'm going to have the Cowboys come in here. The Cowboys have been overrated this season, to say the least. We've been so good. We've beaten 3 teams all from New York area, and they all suck on offense. Congratulations. Anytime they get in a game with a team that can score, they either lose or barely win. Like tonight, the Chargers lost. The Cowboys did not win. The Chargers had this game in the bag and blew it. Justin Herbert overthrew some passes. Like I said earlier, he threw a pick at the very end of the game. And if that wasn't for, Justin Herbert, I love Justin Herbert, but he kind of sold this game. He did. Either way, Dak's not going to win you games if you have to have him win you games. It's going to be that defense, if anything, and that's what they at. They fall all the way down to 7 this week, and they're going to stay there, probably right there for the rest of the year. Next, I have the Chiefs in here. The problem with the Chiefs, yes, they're 5-1. Congratulations, man. They have won no games that matter. This past week, who did they? The Broncos or whatever on Thursday Night Football, who looked awful, and they almost lost that game. 19 days, that's 2 scores. No, it wasn't. That was a 1-score game that they got some extra points at the very end. They beat the Jets with Zach Wilson when he was playing like crap, and they almost lost that game. Oh, they beat the Bears by 40 or whatever. No, dude, it's the Bears, and that was when they were playing a horrible brand of football. They have not had a single game that they've won that has looked good. Even the Jaguars game, they scraped that one out of the barrel, man. There was nothing incredible about that win at all. And, that's great for them. That gets them help in the long run. That is, they maybe should be 3-3, but they're 5-1, and that's going to help them in the end of this season. But either way, it doesn't matter. They're still winning games that are whatever games. They're just not, impressive. And I think that could come back to bite them when they have to play the Bengals or the Bills or other higher-end AFC teams like that. Moving on from them, though. Now we have the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, obviously they lost to the Bills a couple weeks ago, and this week they looked potentially breakable to a very bad team for a little while at least. But I think that shows you enough about that defense the Dolphins have. It's not very good, and there are issues with this team. Can Tua stay healthy? That's something we're yet to see in a full season. They could easily fluctuate back up, but right now they're sitting at 5 for me. Then we have the Bills. Could they have lost that game to the Giants? Yes, that was a poor win themselves, but they have at least taken out a major team like the Dolphins, so I've got to give them credit for that. That's an overwhelming victory, and they made it look easy too. They took the Dolphins by storm, and the Dolphins have been such an explosive offense, but they look like nothing in that game. So that's a huge win for them. Either way, the top 3 teams are all NFC teams, and the third is the Lions. They look kind of legit. They are, I believe, 5-1 as well. Jared Goff played very well last week, and pretty well this week. Not amazing, but they're winning games, and this is nothing the Lions of the past would do. They get a lot of credit for that. Then we go to the Philadelphia Eagles. But obviously they lost to the Jets this week. It was a messy game. They've been off all season, but they have been winning games. Kind of like the Chiefs, except they've pulled out games that they probably shouldn't have as well. Or games that, the teams that they played were at least capable, and they've still won them. So I got to give them credit for that to a point. The Niners do land at 1. They lost to the Browns, and that's a pretty rough loss. I did tempt putting them down at 2, and the Eagles at 1 because the Browns, at least the Jets had their supposed starter, the guy who took snaps all week, and P.J. Walker's not P.J. Walker. I don't know. It is what it is. That's a weird one. It really shows you that this offense could struggle without McCaffrey if he's not there. But either way, this is our power rankings for post-Week 6 NFL season 2023. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. Help me get there as soon as possible. And it'll be great for all of us. Either way, thank you for watching. Peace.